The recycled air hummed through the ventilation shafts of Outpost Kepler 442, a rhythm Kara had grown so accustomed to that she no longer heard it. What she should have heard was the morning alarm, the sharp, insistent beeping that marked the beginning of another cycle in humanity's furthest colonial venture. But exhaustion had claimed her deeper than usual, pulling her into a dreamless void where even the most urgent sounds couldn't reach. A gentle pressure on her shoulder stirred her first, then again more insistent. A soft chirp followed, the kind that twisted something maternal in her chest even before consciousness fully returned. Kara's eyes fluttered open to find Turn's luminous golden gaze inches from her face. The cub's fur, a silvery blue that seemed to capture starlight itself, bristled slightly with concern. His small paw, 3 digits and an opposable thumb, so eerily similar to a human hand yet distinctly alien, rested on her shoulder with surprising weight for a creature no larger than a terrier. "Turn," she murmured, her voice thick with sleep. "What time is it?" The cub chirped again, more urgently this time, and gestured toward the chronometer on the wall with his snout. Kara's blood went cold. She was 47 minutes late. 47 minutes late to open the nursery. 47 minutes that 17 Velusian cubs had been waiting, probably hungry, definitely confused about why their routine had shattered. She bolted upright, and Turn tumbled backward onto the sleeping mat with an indignant squeak. I'm sorry, Kara gasped, already reaching for her uniform jacket draped over the chair. Her hands shook as she pulled it on. How had she slept through the alarm? How had the backup systems failed? Turn recovered quickly, as the cubs always did, and was already at the door, his small frame vibrating with purpose. He looked back at her with those impossibly intelligent eyes that held more awareness than any human had initially given the Velusians credit for, and chirped. Again. Hurry. The guilt crashed over her in waves as she rushed through the corridor, Turn padding alongside with surprising speed. The Velusians had trusted humanity with their most precious treasures. When their homeworld faced ecological collapse, when their star began its premature death throes, they had sent their cubs to humanity's outposts, to the species that had promised protection, promised sanctuary, and she had overslept. The nursery doors hissed open and chaos greeted her. Cubs of various sizes tumbled and chirped, their distress palpable in the air. Some huddled together in the corner, seeking comfort in numbers. Others had attempted to operate the food dispensers themselves, leaving a trail of nutrient paste across the floor. But none of them were crying, not in the way human children would. The Velusians bore their anxiety with a quiet dignity that always broke Kara's heart. I'm here, she announced, dropping to her knees so she was at their level. I'm so sorry. I'm here now. The effect was immediate. Cubs rushed toward her from all directions, a wave of silvery blue fur and chirping voices. They climbed onto her, around her, their paws gentle but desperate for contact. Turn remained by her side, his earlier urgency transformed into something protective, almost proud. He had completed his mission. As Kara began the morning routine, checking each cub, distributing breakfast, ensuring no one had been injured during the unsupervised time, she marveled at the weight of what humanity had inherited. The Galactic Council had debated for months about which species should take the Velusian cubs. The Krill had superior technology. The Metharians had longer lifespans and could guarantee care across generations. The Zentari had offered entire planets, but the Velusians had chosen humans. Too young, the Council had argued. Humanity barely qualifies as a spacefaring species. They're reckless, emotional, prone to violence, and yet here they were, because the Velusians had seen something in humanity that others had missed. Perhaps it was the same instinct that made human mothers wake at the slightest sound from their infants. Perhaps it was the fierce, irrational protectiveness humans showed toward anything small and vulnerable. Perhaps it was simply that humans understood what it meant to face extinction and fight anyway. Turn brought her a clean cloth without being asked, helping her wipe down the cubs who had gotten into the nutrient paste. He was the eldest, barely 3 cycles old by Velusian reckoning, but already showing signs of the leadership that would define his generation, the generation that would have to rebuild an entire civilization from memory and hope. You did good, Kara told him softly, stroking the soft fur between his ears. You took care of everyone until I got here. Turn's purr, a sound somewhere between a cat's rumble and the hum of a quantum engine, vibrated through his small body. His eyes met hers, and in that moment, Kara understood something profound. They weren't just keeping the cubs safe until they could return to a restored homeworld. They were showing them what it meant to care, to protect, to love beyond species and biology. The morning alarm failure had been her fault, a glitch in her personal neural interface that she would need to debug later. But Tern hadn't waited for systems or protocols. He had simply known that his guardian needed him, and he had acted. As the cubs settled into their lessons, playing with educational hollows that taught them the lost geography of Volusius, Kara watched Tern organize the younger ones with gentle authority. The Galactic Council had been wrong about humanity. They had seen the violence, the short lifespans, the emotional volatility. They hadn't seen the other side of that coin, the capacity for fierce love, for waking at the slightest touch, for protecting the helpless with every breath. She had missed the morning alarm, but a cub had roused her with a paw on the shoulder, bridging the gap between species with a simple gesture of trust. And in that gesture lay the entire future of two civilizations, learning to need each other in the vast darkness of space.